Hi guys, today I'm doing a sim racing cockpit buyer's guide as I've reviewed a number of different racing cockpits, so hopefully this video will help you in choosing the best one for your budget. Details are in the description below, including purchasing links plus any discount codes I've managed to get. But before I begin, if you're new to the channel, hope you can support me by subscribing and hitting the bell icon to get notified of my next release. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Now if you're starting on your sim racing journey, then you'll most likely be using your desk or a table to attach your wheel to, with your pedals being on the floor. This setup can work well, but not ideal for getting an immersive racing experience, as you'll find the pedals will move and the wheel or shifter position may not be ideal. This is when you'd want to invest in a sim cockpit to take your racing experience to the next level. Let's begin by looking at wheel stands. This is the cheapest option depending on the wheel stand you go for, and a good one if you're limited for space. I've got the GT Omega wheel stand here coming in at just under £100, and this is the first wheel stand I actually purchased. It has mounting points for the wheel, pedals and shifter, together with some basic adjustability. The advantage of this stand is that it allows you to securely mount the pedals, which is much better than having them on the floor where you would get some movement. And it gives some adjustability for positioning on the wheelbase and shifter to make the experience feel a little bit more natural. But on the negative side, it's not great if you're using it with a desk chair with wheels, as you'll find that your chair will move around when pressing the pedals. But newer versions of this wheel stand come with a chair link to avoid that issue happening. Plus it can be folded away for storage. Next Level Racing have the Wheel Stand 2.0, which is very similar and comes with a chair cradle by default. It has some good adjustability at double the price, but the advantage here is that you can upgrade this at a later stage by purchasing the GT seat add-on, which can be attached directly onto it to get a full-size rig at a later stage. Wheel stands are a good starter option that work well, with the main limiting factor being the chair. Choosing between the two, I'd be more inclined to go for the Next Level Racing Wheel Stand 2.0, as it has the future upgrade option to add on a seat. Next, on to foldable sim racing chairs. The GT Lite Pro from Next Level Racing coming in at around £279, and this option provides a full-size rig with lots of adjustability and a handbrake mount that's positioned in a more natural position. The seat is padded, with it being quite comfortable to race in even for long periods, and the biggest advantage here is that you can fold it away if you're limited for space. But negatives wise, due to the thin tubular structure, there is some flex on the frame and it can be a little bit fiddly to fold away. The other fold away rig I reviewed was the Playseat Challenge X Logitech G Edition, costing £259. This folds away so easily, taking up just a minimal amount of space, and you have a bar at the side for mounting a shifter, which I'd say is more suited for the Logitech G driving force shifter, as it may not be able to handle heavier shifters, with the positioning not being ideal. They do market this seat as being suitable for the cheaper Logitech wheels, so the Logitech G29 or G923, but I have tried it with a direct drive wheelbase and it generally works quite well. The seat's comfortable when racing and it does have some adjustability, but not as much as the GT Lite Pro. But negatives wise, with the way the frame is designed, you'll get some flex. I do like foldable sim racing chairs, as you're able to get the full racing experience and fold it away when you're done. If I had to choose between the two, I'd go for the GT Lite Pro, as you get more adjustability on there, but I do prefer the Playseat in terms of ease of folding away, as it takes up a minimal amount of space. Next, onto tubular rigs, the Playseat Trophy Logitech G Edition coming in at £529. Now this is an awesome seat. It's comfortable to race in, with it having some adjustability on the pedal plate and wheelbase. And I like the fact that it has a small footprint, not taking up too much space in your room, with it being pretty light, so it's easy to move around in a room. The structure is quite rigid, with minimal flex, giving a really good racing experience. But negatives wise, there's no height adjustment on the wheelbase, plus it doesn't have a shifter mount included in the package. So if you wanted that, that's an optional extra. Then there's Next Level Racing's GT Racer. This has a thin tubular structure with a reclining GT style seat with a shifter mount included. There's some adjustability on there, except with the pedal mount, and no height adjustment on the wheelbase. Price wise, I'd say this is a real bargain at £379, but negatives wise, you do get a little bit of flex from the frame and especially off the shifter mount. If you had broad shoulders, you may find the seat a little bit uncomfortable, and I wish the pedal mount was adjustable. If I had to choose between the two, I'd go for the Playseat Trophy, as for me personally, I felt it more comfortable to race in. Onto aluminium profile rigs. This one's the TR120 from Track Racer, which is my main rig. It has a solid build to it with no flex and lots of adjustability. Plus there's a number of add-on options available, together with various wheel and pedal mount options. But obviously this comes in at an additional cost. With the setup I have, it comes in at around £1,000. Negatives wise, it's very heavy and not portable. You can attach wheels on the frame if you want to be able to move it around, but worth noting, with a wheel attached, the frame does shake a little when you're racing in it. And the whole frame comes flat packed, which does take a while to assemble. An alternative to this is the Next Level Racing GT Elite. That's also an aluminium profile rig, which comes in at around £900. I've got the optional monitor mount with the rig, which comes in at an additional cost. There's a number of accessories available, and it has some nice touches on there, like the tools attachment to hold your Allen keys for making adjustments, and the cable management clips helping to keep things nice and tidy. It's a fixed frame rig, and with the monitor mount, it doesn't feel like it takes up too much space in your room compared to the TR120. Negatives wise, again, like its competitor, it's very heavy, so you wouldn't be able to easily move it around in a room unless you had caster wheels on there. With the monitor attached, there is a little bit of movement when you're racing, which is more obvious when you're using a shifter, and the shifter could benefit from an additional vertical support arm to add even more stability when shifting, but I wouldn't say that's a deal breaker in any way. Now, if I had to choose between the two, that's a really tough one, as they're both pretty good rigs. But personally, I was a bit more swayed towards the TR120, as it had the additional support for the shifter, and I prefer the aesthetics of it. And finally, we have the Track Racer Alpine TRX, and this is the most expensive one, coming in at £1,700. It has a very strong tubular structure and is ideal if you want to easily switch between the GT and Formula racing positions without the need of using any tools. The flexibility on this is pretty impressive, with it providing a lot of adjustability on the pedal position, seat position, and the wheelbase, making it the most versatile out of all the rigs I've shown today. Whereas the adjustment on all the other rigs was a little bit more effort using an Allen key. Negatives wise, due to the number of adjustments you have available on there, there is some movement on the different areas when racing, but this isn't really noticeable when racing except for the shifter mount, which had a lot of movement on there. Size wise, it's massive, taking up a lot of space, with it being pretty heavy too. In general, it's an awesome rig and perfect for those of you who switch between GT and Formula racing positions, but if you just raced in a single position, I don't think you'd make the most of the rig. So there you have it, you've come to the end of another video, and I hope it's helped anyone thinking of purchasing a sim racing cockpit. Details are in the description below for all the items I've shown today, plus any discount codes I've managed to get. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. For those of you who've got to the end of this video, please leave a comment with best rig, as it's awesome to see who's got to the end of my video, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You can follow me on my socials, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to be notified of my next release. Thanks for viewing, and see you in the next one.